Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe here, and I want to talk to you today about expenses when it comes to making money with smartphones and computers. This is going to be a general overview of the expenses and what I think is the most expensive thing versus the least expensive thing. Then later this week, I plan on making a specific expense video where I run through with you my expenses making money with smartphones and computers. This video is going to be going into the Getting Started series about making money with smartphones and computers on my website. If you're interested in checking that out, I can leave a link above me in the cards. So the first expensive item when it comes to making money with smartphones and computers, by far, my opinion, is the smartphone. So this is going to be over the course of probably a year or more when you're building up your smartphone count. For me, it was more years since I took longer to actually get going with this. The idea of the tech slugs though is to get you moving quicker. But it took me several years. Last year was probably my biggest expensive year when it came to buying smartphones. I would say I easily own $3,000 worth of smartphones. The reason smartphones are the most expensive item is because you have to buy many of them. You can't do multiple things on a smartphone like you can a computer. A computer, you can use one computer for multiple cache websites at the same time, which is one of the reasons why I advocated for computers when you're getting started versus smartphones where it's usually just one app per phone. You also have to worry about batteries when it comes to the smartphones, as most smartphones, there is no way around of using them without the battery implementation. So the batteries may swell and you may have to replace them. Some smartphones also just die after a certain point if they're cheap enough. The next item I want to talk about is internet. If it were just internet, it would cost me roughly $80 to $100 a month. Now that's not so bad up front, but over a year it's going to cost $1,000 and then next year it's going to cost $1,000. But maybe I shouldn't even include this in making money with smartphones because most people just have internet for everything in their lives now. But it is necessary for making money with smartphones and computers, and you do need a pretty good connection. If you want more information about that, I'll put more information in your cards. So the next two most expensive items really depend on how you go about it. It's either going to be computers or networking equipment and cables. So if you go heavy on your computer setup, for instance, I have one main computer that's super powerful. It was like a sort of a gaming type PC I built, although I use it for video editing as well as a lot of my money making. It's just one PC I use it for. That I use for money making, and it costs about $2,000 for me to build. I also have other devices such as HP Streams that are computers, but those are only $50 a piece. So if you go that route and you buy a bunch of those and you only do a couple websites on each of them, then your computer setup might cost less than your cable setup. For me though, it's definitely the computers that's going to cost more because of that expensive PC I built for multiple things, not just making money with smartphones and computers. But let's say for cables and networking equipment, you do need a nice router for this, so I'm not even included in the internet cost because the internet cost you're paying to the ISP is not going to cover a nice modem and router depending on what kind of setup you have. You're going to have to drop at least a few hundred on a nice router and perhaps modem. Cables, if you have 60, 70 smartphones, for Android cables, I can get them around $2 a pop, and that would at least be over $100. But then iOS you account for, it's usually about $5 a cable, and sometimes you can't get that $2 a pop deal for Android cables. Add on the cost for the router, modem, as well as the switches perhaps you have for your Ethernet, for your money-making computers. Add on any other miscellaneous network equipment, as well as wire management, Velcro ties, wire sleeves perhaps, such as I have in my smartphone setup, and you're talking at least a couple $100s for all of that. The last thing on this list is going to be electricity costs. A lot of people think this is actually in the front of the list. However, it's not expensive when it comes to everything else you're going to be buying for making money with smartphones and computers. So if you live in an average area in the United States, which is what I did this reading video on, you can check out in your cards, then you're going to spend, at least with my kind of setup, you're going to spend a little bit over $100 a year on electricity, which is not bad at all. Even if you live in an area that has 2 to 3 times the cost of power as the average of the United States, then you're still not going to be spending a whole lot. Is the cost of my entire cache room. And if you're just using smartphones, they use a lot less power than my big gaming PC type build, as well as a few other computers in that location. So guys, that's basically it for my overview of expenses when it comes to making money with smartphones and computers. Like I said, I'm going to do more a specific video crunching the numbers of my own setup here coming up shortly. But this video will go in the Getting Started series for you guys, and I'll see you guys later with more money making videos. Have fun making money. Thank you for watching this video meant to help you make more money with smartphones and computers. The link above me is a link to my website with the Getting Started series and a cache archive section where you can sort through hundreds of smartphone apps that make you money. Any more specific questions can be directed to me at my contact page or on any of the communities listed this way.